Some people don't just win once and never again. They hit big, then they hit again, then they hit a third time, and everyone around them says, "How are they so lucky?" But when you look closer, when you actually study these people who keep winning over and over, there's a pattern nobody's talking about. Before each win, before the money showed up again, they were saying the exact same money command. Not a different affirmation every time. Not random positive thinking. The same command, working on repeat. If you've manifested money once but can't seem to make it happen again, or if you're stuck wondering why other people keep winning while you're still waiting for your first break, you're about to discover why some people win once and some people win over and over. Because the difference isn't luck, it's the command they're running in the background. I want to tell you about someone I know. Let's call him Marcus. A few years ago, Marcus manifested $500 completely out of nowhere. A random refund he didn't expect. He was ecstatic. He told everyone, "This manifestation stuff actually works." But then, nothing. Weeks went by, months. He kept doing his affirmations, kept visualizing, kept trying to recreate that first win. But the money didn't come back. He started thinking, maybe that was my one lucky moment. Maybe I used up my shot. Then he met someone who'd won the lottery, not once, 3 times. Small amounts, but 3 separate wins over 5 years. And Marcus asked him point blank, "How? How do you keep winning when most people never win at all?" And this guy said something that changed everything. He said, "I don't treat it like a one-time thing. I don't say, I want to win. I tell myself I'm built to win repeatedly. It's who I am." That conversation flipped a switch for Marcus. He realized he'd been using one-time energy. He manifested once and then went back to his old identity. He stopped acting like someone money comes to. He stopped speaking like someone chosen. He treated that $500 like a fluke instead of proof that he could do it again and again. Here's the reframe you need to understand. Most people approach manifestation like it's a single event. They say, "I'm going to manifest money," and when it works, they celebrate for a day and then go back to waiting. They treat it like winning a raffle. 1 ticket, 1 shot, 1 result. But people who keep manifesting money over and over, they don't see it as an event. They see it as a loop, a cycle, a pattern that repeats because they've wired their identity for repetition. They're not trying to get lucky again, they expect it. They move through life like someone who's built for repeated wins. And here's the truth. The universe doesn't care if you won once before. It doesn't give you bonus points for past manifestations. What it responds to is your current frequency, your current identity, your current command. If your command after the first win is, "That was amazing, but it probably won't happen again," you're locking yourself into one-time energy. But if your command is, "I'm built for this, it keeps happening," you're activating repeat frequency. Today, you're going to get the exact command Marcus started using. The command that people who win over and over have running in the background. And you're going to get the protocol that turns a one-time win into a repeating cycle. Let's talk about why this even works. Because this isn't just mindset fluff. This is how your nervous system and your subconscious process patterns. Your brain is designed to recognize and repeat patterns. Once something happens once, your brain logs it as possible. But if you don't reinforce that pattern, if you don't tell your subconscious this happens again and again, your brain treats it like an anomaly, a fluke, something that happened by accident. But when you speak a command that reinforces repetition, when you say something like, "This happens to me repeatedly," or "I'm wired for repeated wealth," your subconscious starts scanning for evidence that the pattern is real. It notices the second refund. It sees the second opportunity. It catches the third lucky break. And every time it finds evidence, it strengthens the loop. This is why people who win once and then stop commanding repeat wins stay stuck. They broke the loop. They told their brain, "That was special, not normal." But people who win over and over, they never break the loop. They keep the command running. They keep the identity active, and their brain keeps delivering proof that they're right. Here's the big lie most people believe, and it's why they never manifest money more than once. If it's meant to be, it'll happen again naturally. I don't need to do anything different. That's victim thinking disguised as trust. The universe doesn't owe you a second win just because you got one the first time. You have to claim the identity of someone who wins repeatedly. You have to speak the language of someone built for repeated wealth. People who keep winning aren't just luckier, they're not more special. They've locked in an identity that expects repetition, and they reinforce that identity every single day with a command that tells their subconscious, "This is normal for me. This is who I am. Money comes to me over and over because I'm wired for it." In just a moment, I'm going to give you that exact command, and once you start using it the way I'm about to show you, you're going to stop wondering if you'll ever manifest money again, because you'll be operating from a frequency that doesn't do one time. You'll be wired for repeat. So what's the command that shifts you from one-time lucky to "this keeps working for me over and over"? It's simple, but it's not soft. It's not begging. It's not wishful thinking. It's an identity statement. Here it is. I'm wired for repeated wealth. Say it with me out loud if you can. I'm wired for repeated wealth. Not, I hope I make more money. Not, maybe I'll get lucky again. Not, I wish something big would happen. I'm wired for repeated wealth. Wealth. This command works on a deeper level because it's not talking about one event. It's talking about your design, your wiring. You're telling your subconscious, this isn't a one-off. This is how I'm built. This is my default setting. When you repeat that with certainty, your brain has to update the way it sees you. Think about what wired really means. If something is wired into a system, it's built in. It's not temporary. It's not fragile. It's not here today, gone tomorrow. When you declare, "I'm wired for repeated wealth," you're not just asking for a payment, a check, or a win. You're claiming a pattern. You're claiming a cycle that keeps coming back. And the word repeated is critical. You're not available for once in a lifetime. You're not available for, "I got lucky that one time back in 2022. You're available for, "This keeps happening for me, over and over and over." But, just like in your last video, you already know this. Saying the words by themselves is not enough. If you say, "I'm wired for repeated wealth," and then spend the rest of the day acting like someone who loses, doubting every opportunity, shrinking from every chance, your actions cancel your command. So you need a protocol that makes your identity, your command, and your behavior all say the same thing. We're going to build that protocol in a second. First, you're going to lock this command in. Right now, pause this video and go straight to the comments. Type this exactly. "I'm wired for repeated wealth." Word for word. Don't change it. Don't water it down. Don't add "I hope" or "I wish." Just, "I'm wired for repeated wealth." Here's why this is non-negotiable. When you write something publicly, your brain treats it differently than a thought you keep in your head. It becomes a declaration, not a daydream. You're saying to yourself, to your subconscious, and to this entire community, "This is who I am now, not someday, now." And when you scroll the comments and see hundreds or thousands of other people writing, "I'm wired for repeated wealth," your mind starts to normalize it. You stop seeing wealth as something reserved for a few rare people. You start seeing it as an identity you share with others who are done playing small, so do it now. Type, "I'm wired for repeated wealth" in the comments. Then reply to at least one other person with something like, "We stay winning," "on repeat," or "it's already done." You're not just commenting, you're reinforcing the loop every time you interact. Once you've done that, come back here, because now it's time to turn this from a sentence into a system. 2 people, 2 realities, repeat versus one time, plus 3-step protocol. Let's talk about 2 very different realities that start from the exact same moment. Person A manifests money once. Maybe it's $300, maybe it's $3,000. They're shocked. They celebrate. They tell the story to their friends. But deep down, they're thinking, "Wow, I can't believe that happened." They treat it like winning a raffle, rare, random, not normal. What happens next? They go back to their old language. They start saying things like, "Nothing like that ever happens to me. That was insane. probably a once-in-a-lifetime thing, or knowing my luck, it'll never happen again. Their words tell their brain, that pattern is over. Their identity goes right back to, I'm not the type of person this keeps happening for. So the loop dies, the money doesn't repeat, and they decide manifestation stopped working. Person B also manifests money once. Same $300, same $3,000. But their internal script is completely different. Their reaction is, of course, this is what I'm wired for. This is just the beginning. They don't see that first win as a miracle. They see it as confirmation. Proof of wiring that was already there. So what do? They start feeding that identity. They wake up saying, I'm wired for repeated wealth. They step into decisions asking, what would someone wired for repeated wealth do right now? They treat every small win, not just the big ones, as evidence that the pattern is alive and well. Months later, person A is still talking about that one time something good happened. Person B has a list. Refunds, clients, promotions, discounts, gifts, opportunities, different forms, same energy, the same pattern. This keeps happening for me. The difference is not fate. It's not the universe liking one more than the other. The difference is identity and repetition. Same universe, same laws, different wiring. Now you're going to hardwire yourself into person B's reality with a simple 3-step protocol. You already know from the last video, it's not enough to know the command. You need a structure that forces it into your day. So here's the 3-step protocol that turns I'm wired for repeated wealth into your new normal. Step 1. Morning wiring statement. The first few minutes after you wake up are non-negotiable. Most people wake up and immediately reconnect to their old story. Same problems, same bills, same me. You're going to break that loop. As soon as you wake up, sit up on the edge of your bed. Put your feet on the floor. Place your hand on your heart. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. On each exhale, say with full presence, I'm wired for repeated wealth. I'm wired for repeated wealth. I'm wired for repeated wealth. You're not checking your phone first. You're not checking your balance first. You are telling your nervous system, this is the script we're running today. You're choosing identity before circumstances. If your mind starts arguing, no you're not, look at your situation, don't argue back. Let the thought pass like a cloud and keep coming back to the command. You're not debating your old identity, you're replacing it. Do this every morning for at least 7 days. Same posture, same breath, same command. You're training your body to associate waking up with being a person wired for repeated wealth. Step 2. The wealth-wired decision gate. This is where people either lock in the loop or break it. During the day, every time you face a money-related decision, big or small, you're going to run it through a simple gate. It could be whether to invest in a course or stay stuck, whether to send a message to a potential client or procrastinate, whether to apply for an opportunity or scroll past it, whether to accept help or push it away. In that moment, pause for just 3 seconds. Breathe once. Whisper to yourself, I'm wired for repeated wealth. Then ask one question. If I were truly wired for repeated wealth, what choice would I make here? And then, this is important, you act on that answer. Someone wired for repeated wealth doesn't make fear-based decisions. They don't automatically pick the cheapest, safest, smallest option every time. They might still be smart and strategic, but they move from expansion, not contraction. Every time you do this, you strengthen the circuit. You show your subconscious, we're serious. This isn't just a pretty sentence we say in the morning. This is who we are when it counts. Step 3. Nighttime pattern lock-in. The last step is about teaching your brain to see the pattern. Right before you go to sleep, instead of replaying everything that went wrong, you're going to become a detective for repeated wealth energy. Ask yourself, what showed up today that proves I'm wired for wealth? At first, it might be small. A discount you weren't expecting. A free coffee someone paid for. A bill that was lower than you feared. A new idea or lead that came out of nowhere. List at least 3 of these in your mind. Then, with your eyes closed, say once, slowly, I'm wired for repeated wealth. and visualize tomorrow giving you more proof. An email, a payment, a sale, a refund, a new opportunity. See it. Feel it as if it already happened. Then let yourself drift off with that image as your last thought. You're ending your day the same way you started it, with identity. Morning, you set the wiring. Daytime, you behave from the wiring. Nighttime, you collect evidence of the wiring. That's how you turn one win into a loop that keeps running. Those 3 steps, morning wiring, daytime decision gate, nighttime pattern lock, that's how you turn a one-time win into repeated wealth. If you follow this for 7 days straight, you will start seeing proof. But here's the problem. Most people will sabotage this protocol without even knowing it. So before we go any further, I need to show you the 3 mistakes that will break the repeat loop and lock you back into one-time energy. Mistake number 1. Celebrating the first win like it's the last. When something good happens, a refund, a bonus, an unexpected check, most people celebrate like they just won the lottery and it'll never happen again. They tell everyone, "You won't believe what just happened," with that tone of shock, like they're surprised they were worthy of it. That energy, "I can't believe this happened to me," tells your subconscious, "This is unusual. This is not normal for me." And your brain locks it in as a one-time event. Here's what you do instead. When money shows up, receive it calmly. Say, "Of course," instead of "Oh my God." Say, "This is how it works for me now," instead of "I got so lucky." You're not diminishing gratitude. You're anchoring the pattern. You're training your nervous system to treat wealth as your new normal, not a rare accident. Mistake number 2. Switching commands every time you hear a new one. Someone watches one video and starts saying, "Money flows to me." Then they watch another and switch to, "I'm a money magnet." Then another, "Abundance is my birthright." They're hopping from command to command, never giving one enough time to root. Your subconscious doesn't respond to variety, it responds to repetition. If you keep changing the script, you're confusing the system. Pick one command, in this case, "I'm wired for repeated wealth," and stay with it for at least 30 days. Let it sink into your nervous system. Let your brain start collecting evidence around that one phrase. Once it's locked in, you can expand. But jumping commands is like planting a seed, digging it up the next day, and planting a different one. Mistake number 3. Treating small wins as not enough instead of proof. This is the sneakiest mistake. Someone does the protocol for 3 days. A random $20 shows up. A friend pays back an old $50 loan. A discount saves them $15. And instead of seeing these as confirmation that the wiring is activating, they dismiss it. "That's not real money. That doesn't count. I want something big. You just told the universe, what you sent isn't good enough. I reject it." And the flow stops. Small wins are not the finish line. They're the first signals that your frequency is shifting. They're breadcrumbs showing you the path is opening. When you celebrate the $20 with the same energy you'd celebrate $2,000, you're telling your subconscious, "We recognize wealth in all forms. Keep it coming." The people who win repeatedly, they honor every single sign. They say thank you for the $5 discount, the free coffee, the unexpected refund. They treat it all as evidence, and because they do, the evidence keeps multiplying. Let's knock out the questions I know are running through your head right now. Question 1. Does this actually work if I've only manifested money once, years ago? Yes. In fact, you're in the perfect position because you've already proven to yourself that it's possible. The problem wasn't that you couldn't do it. The problem was you didn't install the repeat wiring after the first time. This command fixes that. You're telling your brain, that wasn't a fluke. That was the first iteration of a pattern that keeps going. Question 2. How long does it take before I see the second win, the third win? It varies. Some people see something within 48 hours, others take 2 weeks. But here's what matters more than speed. Consistency. If you do this protocol every single day for 30 days, you will see multiple pieces of evidence. They might be small at first, but they'll stack. And the more you acknowledge them, the bigger they get. Question 3. Can I use this command for things other than money? Absolutely. You can say, I'm wired for repeated love. I'm wired for repeated health. I'm wired for repeated opportunities. The framework works for anything, but I recommend focusing on one area at a time so your subconscious has a clear target. Question 4. What if I say the command, but I don't feel like I'm wired for anything good? You don't wait to feel it. You act like it first, and the feeling follows. This is identity leading, not feeling leading. Every time you say, I'm wired for repeated wealth, and then make a wealth-wired decision, you build evidence. Evidence creates feeling. Feeling reinforces identity, but it starts with the declaration, not the emotion. Question 5. I manifested once and then it stopped. Does that mean I did something wrong? No. It means you didn't build the loop. You treated it like a one-time event instead of installing it as a repeating pattern. That's what this protocol does. It turns the one-time into a cycle. You didn't fail. You just didn't know the next step. Now you do. Question 6. Should I still take action, or does the command do everything? The command rewires your identity. Identity shifts your decisions. Decisions create action. So yes, you still move. But the action comes from a different place. You're not hustling from lack. You're not forcing from fear. You're moving from certainty that you're wired for repeated wins, so every action you take is aligned with that truth. Alright, here's your challenge. And this is the same challenge that turned Marcus from I manifested once years ago to this keeps happening for me. For the next 7 days, you're running the full protocol. No skipping. No, I'll start tomorrow. You start today. Morning. Sit up, hand on heart, 3 breaths, say, I'm wired for repeated wealth 3 times with conviction. Daytime. Every money decision, big or small, pause, say the command, ask, what would someone wired for repeated wealth do? Then do that. Nighttime. List 3 things that showed up today as proof you're wired for wealth. Then say once, I'm wired for repeated wealth. Visualize tomorrow's proof. Fall asleep on that. 7 days. That's it. And then you're going to come back to this video, find your original comment where you wrote, I'm wired for repeated wealth, and reply to yourself. Tell us what showed up. First win, second win, third, could be $10, could be $1,000, could be an opportunity, an idea, a connection. All of it counts. And when you see other people sharing their results, hype them up. Comment. Keep going. On repeat. That's the wiring activating. Because when you celebrate someone else's loop, you strengthen your own. Here's what I know for sure. If you commit to this, really commit, not half-hearted, I'll try, you're going to stop asking, will I ever manifest money again? Because you'll be living in a reality where wealth shows up on repeat. Not because you got lucky twice, because you're wired for it. Thank you for being part of this community. You're not here by accident. You're here because you're done with one-time thinking. You're ready for the loop. You're ready to be someone wealth keeps finding, over and over and over. I'm wired for repeated wealth. Not someday, not maybe, now. Act like it, speak like it, move like it, and watch your reality reshape itself around that truth. If you want more protocols like this, deeper layers, advanced techniques, the patterns most people will never discover, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that bell. I'll see you in the next one. Your repeated wealth is already forming. Go claim it. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.